Hola Bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic Official. I'm Magic Mel and this is my angel, Charles. Welcome to episode 17 of season 11. I got my vibe back. It's been rough. It is rough. Very trying times we're going through, guys, but we gotta remember to fill our own cup because we're of no use to anyone if we are energetically depleted. And I know it's difficult if we see what's going around us. Anyway, I tapped back into my energy and made sure that I'm okay so that I can be there for myself and for you. And in this episode, I want to talk a little bit more about this whole notion of perception, how we create our outer world through the creation of our inner world, and what that actually means for our relationships. And you know that I like to always draw on my own experiences because I don't like to just work on the abstract realm of conceptual abstractions. I want to pull it down to grounded experience and take out the wisdom from that experience. So I came across this very cool image. I'm going to make an effort and actually insert it in the video here. And that seems so obvious, or not. There's nothing really objective about the world. We are projecting our subjectivity into the world. Imagine like behind this this head there's a little person inside directing a movie screen, like literally projecting a projector onto a screen, which is my mind, and my mind projects into the world. And imagine the world being a series of a holographic hall of mirrors that reflects back what I have projected. That is how each of our individual minds work. We're actually projecting our reality, our inner reality, into the quantum field, into external reality. And that external reality will reflect it back. And we will filter what we see through our perception. What does perception mean? It means our beliefs. And according to our beliefs, we can actually, our reticular, oh gosh, I forgot the exact word. There's a specific modus operandi of the brain that filters what we let into our perception, that either confirms or disagrees with what we believe in. So our fundamental core beliefs are very important because according to those beliefs, we will let in information and leave other information out, hence the subjectivity, because we want our own beliefs to be confirmed by the external world. So know thyself is an invitation to look inside. What am I actually believing about the world? Because there's a huge difference whether we go about the world thinking and believing that the world is a benign place or a hostile place. And that is what that image was alluding to. I either defend myself against the world or I open myself to the world and expect the best. And people in situations will respond to that openness or defensiveness or fear or suspicion or aggression. I lost my train of thought there. But going back to our inner world, if we are wounded, if we haven't processed our core wounding, our fear of rejection, our fear of abandonment, we will actually address situations and enter situations with that, from that filter, because a perception is also a filter, a certain way. Imagine like being glasses. So you put on, let's say in my case, it was the old story of the abandonment wound. So I would look at realities and situations and people and relationships with that set of glasses on. Meaning I would de facto, from the start, unconsciously believe that another person will abandon me, let's say in a romantic relationship. And that premise alone will trigger a certain reaction from the other person that will then confirm to me that I was right. Because we can literally, with our perception, our beliefs, induce certain behaviors in other people. It's like we bring out that aspect in the other person that confirms what we believed. And then we say, see, I told you, I can't trust anyone. Hasn't that happened to you before? And hasn't happened to you before, for example, in my case, I would bring out in my mom always a combative side. And other people were like, Mel, why are you always fighting with your mom? Because in other people's relationship with her, they would bring out a completely different aspect of her. But because my unconscious belief and wounding was such that I would project that wounding onto her, I would only tease out that very specific behavior out of her that would confirm my wounding. See where I'm getting at? And it's important to be aware of that because it does influence our relationships and our worldview. And that's so important. That's everything that this image was also on about. We either look at the world from a state where we think that everyone's out to get us, in the worst sense of the word, or we go out into the world and say, hey, it's a new day. What can I create together with other people who are my friends, who mean me no harm? And obviously our environment influences our worldview, but have you ever spent time deconstructing where you're actually coming from? This is not an accusation. This is an invitation to look at yourself. Because our inner world, I find, at least me, is infinitely fascinating. How we create our reality through our own perception filters, through our own core beliefs that can either work against us, because if we carry beliefs that are intrinsically wired but that actually don't serve us, those beliefs will keep on creating situations that displease us, that we actually don't want. And we will feel, if we're not aware of that, out of control of the situation. We will keep on thinking that everyone is out to get me. Whereas if you look inside and say, oh, I'm actually the one believing that, inducing that behavior, creating those scenarios, reacting a certain way that create the outer reality, then I can change that if I don't really agree with it. And that's where the magic happens, guys. Because we can change our reality. I used to be, I don't know how long you've been watching me, but maybe you think, well, I don't know how Magic Mel pulls it off. Like magic happens, she's happy, she's resilient. Well, yeah, but because I've been on the other end of the spectrum, everything is on a spectrum, no? So I have felt powerless. I have felt like a victim. I have been in lack. I have been depressed. I've been all of that. And through working and understanding and healing myself, I've been able to shift my perception. And now, yes, I live in an abundant universe because I can actually tap into it and perceive it. I'm open to seeing and perceiving it. I have the abundance glasses on. I don't look around me registering what is missing and what is lacking. I make an effort, a conscious effort, to wire my perception into such a way that I perceive the abundance that is already here, that is not out of reach, but that is here. And again, it was in the Bible, Luke, the chapter where St. Luke said, the kingdom of heaven is already here, but we need to be able to perceive it. So the kingdom of heaven is a metaphor. It's like 5D consciousness. It's higher frequency, abundance. The new earth is already here, but we got to shift our frequency and heal in such a way that we're actually able to perceive it, to register and to tap into it, to connect with it. So I'm excited about this because I know from my own experience that we can shift our reality, that we can change our perception. And isn't that an empowering fact? You know that at Mel's Magic Official, I'm all about trying to help you, inspire you to empower yourself. And that is also one big point I want to put across too, because there is two big ways of looking at what we're going through as a collective. We can focus on the doom imprint, we've spoken about that, where we think and perceive and actually create an inevitable doomsday, apocalypse, whatever you want to call it. Or we can realize, oh my God, never in the history of humankind have we been given so many tools and so many possibilities. We just need to perceive them. We need to be aware that the possibility to create and perceive a new world, a new state of affairs, a new way of being is in reach. It's here. And we're in the midst of it. So for me, it's exciting times despite the shadow, despite of the darkness. And you know that I've been struggling in the past few episodes to like process my own worldview of what is going on. And we know what's going on in Gaza, terrible. We know there's so much suffering happening. However, I want us not to feel powerless, to look within and really see, well, how am I approaching the world? From a state of fear or from a sense of empowerment and abundance? What am I emitting as a human projector? What am I emitting? What kind of signal, what kind of energy am I projecting into the quantum field? And am I actually attracting into my reality? Because we are, each one of us, like a mini universe. We're creating, projecting our own universe. And my wish is that it's more in alignment with Source, because Source wants us to jump onto our highest timeline, meaning the expression of our highest possibility and potential that is aligned with our soul, with our spirit. So for me, again, regardless of the contrast, of the shadow, of the difficulties, I see possibility, I am hopeful, I am optimistic, and I know the change is possible. And it is very important to be aware of how we perceive the world, the universe to be. Do we feel like we're powerless and a victim to it? Do we keep on reacting from our old wounding? Do we have the courage to look at what is wounded in us, what needs awareness, self-love, integration? Are we willing to do the work to shift our frequency, to gather our soul elements, our soul fragments back into wholesomeness, holiness? Do we dare to be creators again of our reality and dream and imagine? Or do we let that gift, that possibility, that opportunity slip us by? Do we fall back asleep into our hypnotic state of amnesia and programming that has been put there probably by someone else, not through free will? So I'm encouraging you, I'm hoping to inspire you to do this exciting work, inner work, to look within, to ask yourself, what do you really want? And do you dare believe that what you want is possible? Because in this universe, anything is possible. If we can think it, we can create it. Because if the thought is there, then it's already possible. So look at the way you look at your triggering, look at your environment, be curious, be inquisitive with yourself. Don't be so fast to judge. I'm telling you like I'm telling me. When you're triggered, what's really going on? Are you projecting from an old wounding onto a situation? Are you catastrophizing a situation out of fear that something from the past is going to repeat? Or are you present enough and clear enough in your perception that you approach new situations with a more neutral and inquisitive and open agenda? Don't like the word agenda, but approach. Be curious about yourself. No need to blame, shame, judge. Be curious, compassionate, and patient. God knows I needed a lot of patience on this journey. I think I've mastered this virtue. It is a virtue for a reason, no? Patience. I can't think of the right tarot card now in the tarot. It's not transparence. A synonym for patience. In any case, patience is a virtue. So let's be patient with ourselves. And let's look at what we are made of, what our inner world is made of. And if we want a more abundant world, let's project that abundant world from within. We need to resource ourselves. We think that only the external world is running out of resources. Let's look inside. Do you have the right resources to lift yourself up, to build yourself up, to be your own best cheerleader, to love yourself, to forgive yourself? We need inner resources first, guys. No wonder we're depleting Mother Earth. Because we're trying to fill a hole, a void that only our own inner resources first can fill. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about in the next episode. So just a few reflections here to get the ball rolling. Stay tuned for episode 18 coming up right after this one. Ciao, bandidos.